Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video. We've got so much to talk about in this video. It seems like my childhood is crumbling down as the long-running ROM site in EMU Paradise is throwing in the towel. That is some unfortunate news. It was a site that I may or may not have used in the past. I'm not gonna say anything directly, but let's just say it's a possibility that I might have opened the EMU Paradise website and might have done some things on it. I don't know. You guys can fill in the blanks, but you can no longer download games off EMU Paradise. They are shutting down to avoid legal trouble. I understand why they're doing it, but I want to give my input as well. Quake Champions is finally going free to play. If you guys remember, it was a buy to play title. It went free for a short window, and then if you got it, you just owned the game. But now it's free for everyone, and it'll be free forever. Dayz is said to have a stable release in 2018, but I am still very skeptical of that. I'll go through some quotes about that. And then I also want to take a look at some metrics about Monster Hunter World. This game is doing incredibly well from a commercial standpoint. It's been the top seller on Steam, and the numbers are looking outstanding. I knew this game was going to do well on PC, but man, it has blown away my expectations. And that's from a commercial standpoint. It seems like some people are disappointed by the PC version, but more on that at the end of this video. First, let's start off with the long-running ROM site, EMU Paradise, shutting down. Oh my god, this was the go-to place if you wanted to download ROMs and ISOs of games across a wide variety of platforms. Nintendo, Super Nintendo, N64, PlayStation, PlayStation 2. I believe they had PSP stuff. They had nearly everything. I think the one thing they might have been missing was the Wii, and I think they even had Wii. I just don't remember exactly because I haven't been on the site in quite a while, but they had a lot of games. Now, of course, the ROM and emulation debate is always a debate. We're gonna have some people think it's okay. Myself, I've said before, if there's no way to play a game on PC other than using an emulator and running a ROM or an ISO, I think that's perfectly fine. But when a game is available to buy, if it's a remastered version or something like that on Steam, on PC, I would say buy it. For example, I was playing .hack GU on the PlayStation 2 emulator, but the second Bandai Namco announced .hack GU last recode, I added it to my wishlist on Steam, and then I bought it the day it came out because I wanted to play those games, and they did deserve my money for putting those games out. So that's my stance on the debate. I know everyone goes back and forth, but here's what EMU Paradise said about it. Quote, "It's not worth it for us to risk potentially disastrous consequences. I cannot in good conscience risk the future of our team members who have contributed to the site through the years. We run EMU Paradise for the love of retro games and for you to be able to revisit those good times. Unfortunately, it's not possible right now to do so in a way that makes everyone happy and keep us out of trouble." It's a shame to see them go, but let's be real, it's not like it's that difficult to find ROMs and ISOs on the internet. I'm not gonna point you guys to the right direction, but let's just say Google does exist. Moving on from that, Quake Champions has gone free to play. If you guys remember, again, it was around $29.99 to buy this game. It went free for a short window, but now everyone can check it out, and it's the return of Quake, a little bit different. It's a fast-paced arena shooter with various heroes and champions. As the title suggests, it's Quake Champions, so you have a wide variety of different characters, but there's still some fun to be had with the game, and now you can check it out absolutely free. Now, of course, there are quite a bit of in-game purchases. You can buy the Champions Pack upgrade, which includes a lot of that content. But yeah, a lot of gamers weren't all too pleased with Quake Champions, and considering what Quake was, it is a little bit disappointing, and this has been in development for quite a while, and it still has some issues, and it's pretty rough around the edges, but now that it's free, you have no reason to not at least give it a chance. Speaking of games that have been in early access for quite a while, Dayz. Oh my god, can we talk about a game that has long passed its peak? Dayz was the biggest game on PC for a long time. It was a game that really exploded on Twitch, and I remember living through the days where Dayz was so huge, and it's crazy to see how far it's fallen off. It's really because other games have taken the formula and just made it better, and of course other genres have come into play like Battle Royale that have just taken over the mainstream attention, but Dayz was that Battle Royale style game. It was that Fortnite level game. Never did it hit that Fortnite level of mainstream appeal, but it got pretty big. But it is being said by the Dayz team that the game will be released stable 1.0 in 2018. Here's what they said. Quote, "Releasing a stable 1.0 build in 2018 is the priority. We would rather miss some feature or a piece of content, a particular weapon or a particular vehicle, than miss having a stable 1.0 release this year. We're doing good following the goals here, though." So that's kind of them saying that they'd rather get an incomplete game out there and just label it 1.0, which really kind of defeats the purpose of the game being 1.0. But hey, as long as the game works and performs rather well, I guess I'll let that slide. The post continued by saying Dayz will certainly continue with very active development after 1.0. I don't think committing to a 5 years specifically is what we have established as a must. I would think that this plan was in place when the expectations for 1.0 release date were slightly more optimistic, but we're always going for the long tail with Bohemia games. Arma 3 is of course the example to follow. We may as well happen to support Dayz for 5 or more years after 1.0. What I'm trying to explain is that is not an established goal. As with Arma 3, we will support Dayz for as long as it makes sense to players as well as from a development point of view. The Dayz hype train has left the station and it is never coming back. It has to have been at least 6 years since the peak of that game, and the peak of that game was absolutely huge. If you remember, Arma 2 was a game that was known on PC, but when Dayz was released, everybody owned Arma 2. That game was made into the top seller overnight after the release of Dayz. It's kind of like what Grand Theft Auto 5 is right now, in that it's always a perpetual top seller. That's what Dayz and Arma 2 was back then. Arma 2 was always the top seller on Steam, and that was kind of incredible to see, unless there was a big game release and then Arma 2 would quickly take over after that. It was actually pretty incredible how huge Arma 2 got because of Dayz, but unfortunately they really missed the opportunity with this game. The development just took too long. Dayz standalone just wasn't a good product, and even with Dayz 1.0, I think some people would check it out for nostalgia's sakes. I think some people would stream it and it would get some short-term popularity, but in terms of being a long-term game where it's a very popular experience where everyone's playing it. But hey, if this post comes to fruition, Dayz 1.0 in 2018, maybe it can make a comeback. I doubt it. And lastly, I do want to take a look at Monster Hunter World. This game is doing insanely well on PC. I still haven't had a chance to delve into it, but my god, the Steam charts already surpassed a concurrent player count of 300,000 players. That is insane. Yes, we see that for the big multiplayer games, but I didn't think that Monster Hunter World was gonna reach this level of success. We already knew that Tencent had 1 million pre-registrations on their platform. It looks like through Steam Spy, this game has also sold north of 1 million copies on Steam, which is insane. Remember, these are all digital downloads, so Capcom is making an absolute killing on this game. I don't know how much investment went towards the PC version of the game, which, by the way, some people are disappointed by it, but I am sure that they have hit it green. I am sure that they are completely profitable after a couple days of release. And as we get more into the fall, when this game goes on sale over probably the winter sale, even if it's 20 to 30% off, it's gonna sell even more units, and Capcom is going to perpetually continue to make money on this game. That's why it's so insane for them to get into the PC business, and Monster Hunter World is one of those games that I think will perpetually always sell. Whenever new PC gamers get a PC, Monster Hunter World is one of those games you can look at and say, hey, I want to get that game. And down the line, of course, just like every other game, it'll be $15 to $20, and then more and more people are gonna buy it. It looks like everyone isn't completely pleased with the PC version. Let's take a look at the Steam user reviews. Last I checked, they were sitting at mixed, which is kind of disappointing considering this game was released 7 months later. It was released at a full $60 price point, and right now, yes, it is mixed at 48% positive. That is awful. It seems like there are people giving it positive reviews, but also people disappointed. One review specifically lists key issues as no option to disable DOF, no option to disable motion blur, no option to disable or adjust bloom, and you get the idea. They just keep going on with that. The game is sitting at an 89 on Metacritic, which is very good. I think generally the Steam user reviews point out user-specific issues, which is good to know, but it looks like a lot of people are still playing the game. 240,000 players in-game right now as of recording this video. That is absolutely insane, and considering it's been a couple of days since the game has been released, it seems like it hasn't tapered off quite yet. But good for Capcom. Hopefully they get the issues with the port sorted out. That's gonna conclude this video, guys. EMU Paradise has shut down. That's very disappointing news, but like I said, if you want ROMs or ISOs, it's not rocket science to figure out where to get them. Just if a game is available to buy, maybe consider buying the game so you can support the developers, especially if you first download an emulator, play the ROM or ISO, and then you really enjoy it. Maybe help the developer and studio out. Quake Champions is now free to play. You can check that out right now. Not the best received game in the world, but it's still in early access, so hopefully it becomes a better experience. Dayz is set to have a stable 1.0 release in 2018. We'll see if that comes to fruition. I feel like Dayz was supposed to release for the last 3 years, and at this point, I don't know if it'll ever come out, and even if it does, again, I think the ship has sailed where this becomes one of the biggest games in all of gaming. And as I mentioned, Monster Hunter World is off to an incredible start. 240,000 players online. They peaked at over 300,000, probably sold over 1 million copies. Incredible numbers there. So that's gonna conclude this video. Let me know all of your guys' thoughts in the comments section down below. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. This video is brought to you by the new Humble Monthly. Get Tales of Berseria, Sniper Elite 4, and Staxel for just $12 along with the rest of the bundle that's gonna unlock on the first Friday of September. Alternatively, if you don't want any of those early unlocks, you can get Rise of the Tomb Raider instead as an early unlock ahead of Shadow of the Tomb Raider's release in September. And once again, if you decide to get Rise of the Tomb Raider, the rest of the bundle will unlock on the first Friday of September. Just $12 for all that content, and on top of that, you get access to the Humble Trove and 10% off everything in the Humble store. Check out the link in the description box below.